I'm gonna chain you down, dude. You ain't leaving. You ain't leaving.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I hope you're doing well. Really do hope that Chelsea news, Cole Palmer new contract, Alfie Gilchrist new contract. Mason Mount is coming to town with Manchester United, fresh off scoring his first Premier League goal off the bench, of course, in a peculiar/disastrous performance from Manchester United. Indeed, it's the battle of the mid, the fallen giants. Everyone wants to watch it because it's going to be funny. We'll reflect on that as well. I built a lineup after watching Pochettino's pre-match press conference, which in isolation as well was very, very interesting, coming out strong, saying things like, we need to behave like Chelsea. We can't be an exhibition team. We need to run more. It's all very well creating chances, scoring a couple of goals, but we need to defend. We need to want it more. We've got to behave like we're playing a Man United when we're playing Burnley. Although he could have set a better example because Man United, they play a lot like Burnley. Anyway, if you want to support the channel, simple, like and subscribe, comment and share, and all that lovely, lovely stuff. Alright then, let's get into it. Starting off with an article from Matt Law on The Telegraph. Cole Palmer is expected to be rewarded for his first incredible season at Chelsea with an improved contract that will include a lucrative pay rise. Although no talks have currently been held, Telegraph Sport understands there is already an acknowledgement within Chelsea that Palmer will be deserving of a new deal that will include a significant increase to his current salary, which is around £80,000 a week. Yeah, just on that, I think he's like similar to Jude Bellingham in terms of an under-21 player in Europe with a serious amount of goal involvements. Jude Bellingham's probably on like 300k a week plus. By the way, I'm not saying we should give him 300k. We've got plenty of time to give him a pay rise, but it's nice they're thinking about it, which means other good players who score goals and make assists will think, go to Chelsea, score an assist, get rewarded. Chelsea do not need to rush, given the 21-year-old signed a 7-year contract with an option for a further 12 months. Yep, one of those lovely 8-year deals. Palmer's immediate priority will be to concentrate on the final 10 games of the Premier League. Of course, we've also got a semi-final against Man City, and Palmer himself, I imagine, will want to impress Gareth Southgate. Palmer has quickly made himself one of Chelsea's most important players, which is not reflected in the fact he earns about a quarter of what the highest club earner, Raheem Sterling, is thought to be earning. Having joined Chelsea from Man City for £40 million with £2.5 million add-ons, Palmer has been one of the signings of the season, scoring 13 league goals and registering 8 assists. 21 league goal involvements already. Palmer is on course to finish his debut season ahead of Diego Costa, who was involved in 23 goals in his first Premier League season, while Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank remains in first place on 32. Insiders believe Palmer's form has made him the leading candidate to be named PFA Young Player of the Year, which is open to those aged 21 or under. I mean, at the moment, it's like, I think the leading two is Cole Palmer and then probably Kobbie Mainoo, I think, because of how important he's been to United. And, you know, he looks like a starter for England now, which is actually a pretty big deal. Palmer has become a beacon of hope for Chelsea, which is reflected that his image has recently dominated the club's social media channels during another tough campaign for the club. The Chelsea owners have recently received criticism from fans and pundits, and Bowley of course said in response, "We just need to let the process develop and give them time from being unbelievable individuals to a great team." Yeah, we reflected on those words yesterday. Do go consider watching the previous upload for my detailed thoughts on that. Palmer, we'll talk about that in just a moment. Let's finish up and hear about Alfie Gilchrist. A boyhood Chelsea fan, Gilchrist has signed a new deal that is expected to run to 2026 with an option of a further year. Of course, this is a great story. Alfie Gilchrist is a Chelsea fan. He's proper Chelsea. He absolutely loves it. He's captained every single youth level. He's not that young. I mean, he's 20, so he's young. But, academy starlets have sort of had a sniff a little bit earlier at times. But Alfie Gilchrist looks like a good player. He's a centre-back, of course, playing at right-back for Pochettino. He's sort of playing as a finisher at the moment, off the bench, to just really passionately make those interceptions and really, really dig in, which Pochettino values. So the kind of stuff Poch has been talking about in his recent presses, like, that's what he wants, a little bit more like, I think it's nice. I think it's really interesting as well that he's been given a 2+1 year contract as a 20-year-old. That does raise lots of eyebrows, doesn't it? Usually this would be Bowley's and Clearlake's opportunity to say, put him on a 7+1, put him on an 8+1. No, they've put him on a 2+1. Now that is interesting. I'm going to speculate here. I wonder if it's the sporting directors thing. Yeah, he's alright, he's not that good. If Pochettino stays, we might as well put him on an extra short contract and reward him for playing in the first team. Like, he's almost definitely got a pay rise, isn't he? I do wonder that. Rather than protecting him as a long-term asset and committing to 7 years of salary on a player you don't necessarily maybe 100% rate. Again, speculating here. It might be a thing from the sporting director saying, well, Poch likes him. We don't know if Poch is going to be here moving forwards, but for the moment, let's give that little bit of a buffer and give him a 2+1 year. Some people in my social media also suggested that it might be coming from Alfie's side to protect himself. But so far, if Chelsea want to give you a long contract, it's like sign or bust. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is kind of the thing that's going on with Gallagher speculatively as well. They say, look, you either sold or you sign an 8-year deal. It's kind of peculiar. I feel like they've reached this compromise of a 2+1 year. I'm happy about it. It shows flexibility, and in times of turbulence, which, let's be honest, Chelsea are in immense turbulence, there needs to be compromise and flexibility. Works for me. Speaking of long contracts, Cole Palmer's on an 8-year deal. As far as I'm concerned, it's 7+1. So for me, that is like, yeah, bro, you're staying for 8 years. We're gonna chain you down, dude. You ain't leaving. You ain't leaving. But yes, he absolutely does deserve a pay rise. I imagine he's on an incentive-based contract, but his base level, I think, needs to be more than 80k because he's the jewel in the crown, you know? Like I said, to earn 25% of what Raheem Sterling earns. Yeah, he's way younger than Sterling. He's won way less than Sterling. He doesn't have 80+ England caps like Sterling. I understand why Sterling got big money at the time. We all did. It's nice to hear that Cole Palmer will be rewarded for his excellent performances. Anyway, I'll put it out to you guys. Let me know what you think about this potential pay rise for Palmer, what you think about the Alfie Gilchrist extension, down in the comment section below, and let's move on and talk about Chelsea, and of course Chelsea versus Manchester United. First of all, Pochettino was very passionate in his pre-match press conference. He was kind of talking about, like I said at the top of the video, we need to behave like Chelsea. Like, remembering we're like Chelsea. I mean, the amount of like neutral, non-Chelsea fan analysts that were just looking at that game, that Burnley game, like, they just can't defend. It was awful. It was so awful. Like, all the players looked bad. Terrible, bad. I mean, the goalkeeper, for as much praise as he deserves, Georgie Petrovic, and I do like him, I feel kind of like we've been starving for so long in the goalkeeper position. Much like striker, I think it might have been Matt Law who said this, I can't remember who, or it's possibly him tweeting, how we haven't replaced Drogba, Costa, we haven't replaced Cech, Courtois. Like, they're the two world-class, undeniable, you know, recent high-quality strikers and goalkeepers. Edouard Mendy, of course, was good, and we got him in a purple patch on that Champions League run. He won FIFA Best Goalkeeper. But I do think he was maybe hyped up a little bit over his actual ability. And I think there might be a case of we've just done that ever since Courtois gone. And there might be a little bit of that with Georgia Petrovic. I think he's a good goalkeeper with probably quite a high ceiling, but he's just come from MLS. He's still very young for a goalkeeper. And I do wonder if we just need a bit of seniority in the goal. I wouldn't mind like a sort of captain level goalkeeper, or like a really big character that, you know, eventually becomes like a Buffon or a Neuer or a Cech, you know, or whatever. Pick your big character goalkeeper of recent past. And then defenders. But of course we know we're being linked to defenders. We've got the likes of Levi and Fofana to come back. But yeah, we're not behaving like Chelsea, as Pochettino says. And we're not really digging in. Now, we're playing Manchester United tomorrow evening. And Manchester United give up loads of shots. Chelsea give up loads of shots. This is going to be a shot fest. Either that or they just come in and stink it up and it's a bit underwhelming. It's a 1-0. But in terms of recent games, if you watch Manchester United versus Brentford, that was embarrassing. Of course, Mason Mount came off the bench and looked like he scored the winner, but Brentford eventually got their goal, equaliser deep into stoppage time, after it seemed like it was a stoppage time winner from Mason Mount. Now, they gave up so many chances. It was like the third most touches in the opposition box behind two Man City games. Brentford against Man United, like, they were truly dismal. Awful. In fact, they've been absolutely awful for most of the season. Yet they're like loads of places above us. Although actually, if you look at the Premier League table at the moment, we're not that far off it. I think we're 5 points off 7th with 3 games in hand or something like that. Like, we can qualify for the Europa League if we just hold on, to quote Pochettino, behave like Chelsea. It's kind of still here for us. It's so frustrating. I mean, it's killing me inside. But if we beat Man United, it will be massive. Remember, we haven't actually beaten Manchester United in the league for 7 years! Oh my God, 7 years since we won the Premier League under Antonio Conte. That is wild. In that last 7 years, there has been some awful Man United sides, like terrible, bro. And in the last 7 years, we've been a Champions League winning side. We've been a Club World Cup winning side. Can't beat Man United though. Really poor iterations of Man United as well. It's a real bad look for us. So we're going to talk about how we're going to try and play them this weekend. Let's quickly have a look at the injury list, which has been published by the Chelsea website first. Here we go. As you can see, Ugochukwu, Nkunku, Lavia, James, Fofana and Colwill are all out for what seems like indefinitely. Ben Chilwell is absent due to illness, but hopefully not a worrying injury, though I'll expect him not to be in this game. Sanchez is in team training. I don't think he'll play. Hugely positive returning players here in Malo Gusto, Trevoh Chalobah and Carney Chukwuemeka, who could all be very, very useful against Manchester United. Manchester United play often a counter-attacking style of play. They will against Chelsea, I imagine, tomorrow evening. Eric Ten Hag will play a 4-2-3-1 formation. It will be Casemiro and Kobbie Mainoo in a double pivot. I think they got Maguire and I don't know who else. I think they got a couple of centre-backs out, but I mean, I don't know. But Bruno Fernandes will start, Rasmus Højlund will start, Garnacho will start, Marcus Rashford will start, Mason Mount will probably come off the bench. Of course, Mason Mount scored that goal off the bench last time out against Brentford, so who knows, maybe that will earn him a start. And of course, the narrative, I mean, I'm not going to feed into it too much because it's just boring, really. But the narrative's been about his return to Chelsea, of course, and the nature of his exit. Look, man, he's a great player, Mason Mount. He should be starting for Man United, especially if you look at how undisciplined and how mental they are a lot of the time. Mason Mount can actually bring some sensible play onto the field and he can score a goal. I would actually be starting him over Bruno Fernandes at the moment. Just watching Bruno play at the moment is pretty embarrassing. He's petulant and he's nowhere near the productivity he used to be. So personally, I'd start Mason Mount and see what it does bringing Bruno off the bench. Although this is what I'd do to play well, so I hope they don't do that personally. Still, Chelsea give up loads of chances. United will get chances, and they know they've got Hex over us. They've got Man United voodoo over us, which is horrible and I hate it. So how are we going to set up? Well, I've built a lineup. Let's take a look. I think we too will go for our 4-2-3-1 formation. Of course, Petrovic will stay in goal. Now, if Gusto's fit and training, he has to start. I don't want to see Disasi at right back. Of course, it's speculated that Chalobah could also play right back, who's returning. But I've gone for Gusto, Chalobah to partner Thiago Silva. That's right. I've dropped both French Monaco boys. And yes, it might be mental to play Silva against a transitional Højlund and Rashford in a back four, but I don't care. I'm just going to bring Silva there. Maybe you could play Chalobah as left centre-back and Disasi as right centre-back. But for the moment, I'm going to bring in a fresh Silva and see if he's got anything left in the tank. And then Cucurella at left-back. Of course, with Chilwell absent, and Cucurella is a left back ultimately. Midfield, same as always, Caicedo, Enzo, and Conor Gallagher. Palmer and Jackson pick themselves, and I'm going for Mudryk on the left wing. Now, rather positively, we have options off the bench, which is refreshing for us. Most notably, probably be Noni Madueke. I would say Carney Chukwuemeka as well. I think he could be very, very, very effective replacing Conor Gallagher in that number 10. Maybe start Gallagher, use him as like a high press, try to wear out Man United a little bit, and then if they are somehow holding out and we're being profligate, bring Carney on in that number 10 role, which he's really, really good at, and utilise him there. I want to see Mudryk start. I think he's high in confidence. I want to see him also drift towards the middle and operate there. Maybe see Gallagher go out wide. Who knows? Maybe we drop Gallagher, start Mudryk in the 10, and maybe we see Raheem Sterling start on the left wing. Now, I know he's not the most popular at the moment, and for good reason, Raheem Sterling, but he got an excellent assist last time out in the Burnley game. It was a really technical... He does link up well with Cole Palmer, whether you like it or not. And he has got, amidst all these boo boys moments, he's got a couple of elite assists in there. I think he would be utilised. He's a natural left winger. I'm not sure he'll start, but maybe he will. And then we'll probably have a centre-back or two to rotate off the bench as well. And yeah, it's going to be like two sort of like drunk hobos fighting each other in the street, isn't it? Look, I think we can win. Man United, If they look, I just don't know. It's exhausting, isn't it, bro? I do think we can beat this awful Manchester United side. It'll be interesting to see the Mason Mount story if he starts, if he comes on, how the crowd react. I reckon he'll get support from some, probably boos from another. Doesn't really matter. Over time, that will die down and the story will move on. I'm more worried about Chelsea at the moment. It'll be very interesting to see how we react, because if we say get battered by that United side, who essentially just got battered by Brentford. I know they nicked a draw, but they were battered in open play. Say if Man United just walk all over us, the optics there will be awful. But what a lovely dose of fix you up a little bit, please, if we beat them for the first time in 7 years in the league. That would be a massive boon to Pochettino. And, he can talk the talk about behaving like Chelsea. If you go and stick a couple past Man United and win, or, win 3-1 and, that's a good feeling. I'm gonna predict a draw. I know it's really wet and boring. We had good results yesterday in terms of the other teams in the Premier League. I just don't think it's a psychological thing with Man United. Until we're just like an elite Premier League winning team, I don't think we're ever going to beat Man United, no matter how bad they are. So I'm going to say maybe like a 2-2 draw, and a bit of an interesting game. Hopefully goals scored by, I don't know, Jackson. It'd be nice for him to get a brace, a couple of Cole Palmer assists, or one Cole Palmer assist, one Enzo assist, 2 Jackson goals, get his confidence up scoring against another big team. Let me know what you think. Comment down below. I'll be keen to learn your thoughts, as always, here on the channel. So thanks for joining me. Thank you for liking and subscribing, and I will see you back here soon, hopefully. Peace.